I just wanted to do this because it's like, you want the bear in the woods or you want a high value man with all the stuff that I got going on, right? For
This is so
me, it's
good.
I wanted to do this because it's like, don't mind me, guys. I'm not a creep or anything else. I do this for my kids. I do this for myself because sometimes we just want to have some fun. You know, my house is a thing. But today's topic, guys. Today's topic is, what was the freaking topic? The death of dating. Why nobody approaches anymore. Right? Well, Carrie did an amazing post that she got DM from somebody else the other day. She went on this big long thing. And why is it a challenge to be single? And that's what we're going to be going over today from her posts. And you're going to figure out that why is it so hard? Is chivalry dead? Is romanticism dead? Is trusting again dead? You know, for men, for women, is it disappointment? Carrie, while I get us all technically set up again, right? Wait, let me put the bear head back on. Because, oh shit, I just dropped the mic. But at least you can see, which would you rather be? Bear head or anything else? Carrie, let us know what we're going to do following your post. I'll get us all technically set up and I'll let you run the show for a minute.
Oh my God, thank you. Okay, everybody, I'm Carrie Polero, relationship and identity coach, and I help high achieving women become the prize in love and life, in their careers. So I was telling Gordon something amazing happened to me this week. I received a DM from a man, and essentially, there was much more to this DM, by the way. I
Oh,
just put a little clip in it.
okay.
But it was um oops, okay. Anyway, it just said this is a challenge. It's a challenge to be a single man these days. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I first got this DM, my immediate reaction, and this is why I posted what I posted, because my immediate reaction was to kind of armor up for a minute. Like, what does this guy want? Is he like wanting to hit on me? Do you know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
right.
and so I read the entirety of the DM for a moment, and then I actually had to circle back like an hour later. Actually,
Interesting.
it might have been longer than an hour later because I had to sit with it for a hot minute.
Did you?
I did because there was a part of me that was,
Hey, is your video on for TikTok? I'm
oh,
just
hold
having
on.
I'm not seeing you. But was it?
There we go.
Oh, you go.
Okay.
There you go. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see it fine now.
Okay.
Yeah, so initially, like I felt like that as I sat with it, I was like, oh my God, this is an old reaction in the body,
Mm, mm.
right? Like this is triggering something in you, Carrie. Like, and if you like go back and really read, like read between the lines of what he was saying,
Okay.
essentially. And as I sat with it for a while, like that's really where the post came out of because my first immediate reaction was like, dude, don't be a fucking victim. Like you're making it hard, right? And yes, there is a degree of that that's absolutely true. But there's also a reality that nobody ever wants to talk about.
Mm.
That and I proved it, it was evident in the way that my physical reaction was. Do you know what I mean?
But you caught it.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Right. You caught it. That's the good thing.
Yeah.
Now, now let me ask you this. If anybody has questions, please leave them in the comments. We do have certain things that you might be able to use for yourself. By the way, I'm your host, Gordon Watt from Boundaries and Brotherhood. My co-host, Miss Carrie Polero, you already met her. I mean, if you have any questions, like you said, drop them in the comments, leave them in the chat room, leave them everything, because at the end of this, you'll be able to get some prizes going into 2026 because we are running webinars, live webinars, workshops, done with you things so that you can change it for the topics. Now, Miss Carrie had a situation, right? That kind of ticked her buttons for a little bit. Like she said, she had to kind of like step back and everything else because Was it disrespectful in any way? Or was it just more of a curiosity thing as you being Carrie, the coach?
So it definitely was not disrespectful. But the fact that my initial reaction was,
Wow.
without reading the entire post, was,
Oh,
is this man trying to hit on me?
right.
Or does this man want coaching? And the
Yes.
like I felt like this really like a little bit of judgment and stuff. And I'm like, ooh,
Mm.
stop
Mm-hmm.
and go sit with that for a minute. Um, because maybe this man just wanted to get some stuff off of his chest. Like the
True.
reality is he gave me a great speaking point, but I got to
I
sit with him and I actually sent him my post and he was like, I really love your post.
wait, was that him on the bottom?
No, he didn't respond. He private
Oh,
messaged me. Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Um, and like I started to based on my physical reaction, I was like, "Oh, wow. I can see how some people could misconstrue um like dating or speak or even approaching a woman as like difficult or challenging
Absolutely.
because if like I'm very self-aware, but the old Carrie that wasn't self-aware would have jumped on his ass and been like, dude, like
Nice. Good for you.
get it together, you
Yeah.
know?
Right. But like I said, this is Carrie 2.0, so it's kind of
Yeah.
different. You know what I mean? Carrie
Yeah.
2.0 got everything going for herself and everything and be able to share her experiences with everything
Yeah.
that comes along with it. Now, tell the story this before we get into it so we can set the tone.
Of what, just the DM that I received?
Yes.
So it just a friend of mine, well, actually an acquaintance that I know that I've known over years,
Hmm.
where we interact here and there, and he just simply, I guess he's been frustrated when it comes to dating or whatnot, and maybe he's newly single. I don't know his situation because, like
Okay.
I said, we're just acquaintances, but essentially it was about it's a challenge to be a single man these days, but and what he was relating it to was it was very different from when he was younger than
Mm,
now be and I think he's probably my age,
okay.
than today's challenges. And then I was like, oh, I understand, because now you're getting people, unless you're trying to date the 20-year-olds, which I wouldn't recommend,
Right.
but as a 48-year-old woman, me, um, thinking of having a conversation with a man my age, like, and all the baggage that he's carrying from all of the years of dating and relationships and maybe
Right.
unhealed shit, like,
Right. Right. Right.
fuck.
Right.
I mean, people are like following, like U-Haul trailers are following them around. You know
Right.
what I mean? Full of their baggage, and they don't even realize that. And it's a lot to take in. It's almost like, man, is it even worth it? It's yes,
Mm,
dating is a challenge, but at the same time, it's like, look, um, do I really need to date? I mean, my firm belief is this: if I am showing up in the way that like, if I'm clear on my standards and my values and who I want in my life, and I'm showing up in that way with that energy, then I'm just going to attract those people into my space.
correct.
So if you're attracting a particular type of person into your space, maybe you get to take a look at
Yourself.
yourself.
Right. Right.
Like, okay,
Right.
how am I showing up? Am I showing up as the victim or poor me? And then those are the people that I'm gonna attract.
Right. Because no matter what happens, like for me, it's so funny because like I'm close to 10 years older than you, right? I'm close to 60.
What?
But you know what I mean? For me, when I came out of, put it this way, through my addiction, through my prison time, through my incarceration, over 10 years, close to 14, and you're not being in a dating pool, I still had old style, right? Of dating, what's supposed to be there. Then I come out and I look at how these people start moving around, it's completely different, right? And it's completely different. And I really feel sorry because between the feminist movement, the movement of having of being independent and doing things and watching this all online, what I miss, I feel for the guys and the girls because, like you said, everybody's armoring up to protect themselves over heartbreak, disappointment, rejection, abandonment, or even misunderstood, right? Because you still want connection, but do you dive in? Or are you just like some people just fuck it and just say, go for it, right? Because what do you have to time at like when I'm coming out of my situation from prison after doing all those times, I got nothing to lose. I don't give a fuck. Right. I'm gonna do it, but I also have those old values, those old chivalry things, those old things that's has been lost. And that's why I came out with the bear head again.
I don't even know what to
What
say.
would you rather do? Right. So it's like understanding that connection sometimes doesn't work that way in a way that might be suffice to you from a dating coach from a woman's side, right? How does that translate for your
Well,
clients?
look, dating in your 40s is like a different fucking arena.
Oh,
Because
I
everyone is carrying history, heartbreak, like childhood
baggage,
wounds. Yeah, all the fucking
trauma.
baggage. And the whole idea of I'm never fucking doing that again, right? Like that energy, that's the armoring up, right? And then thinking about dating it when I was younger, like dating in my 20s was light. Because now like everyone shows up with the baggage, but the question is, have they fucking unpacked it or are they trying to fucking hand it to
What?
me?
But that's the thing. Have they unpacked it and dealt with it?
Exactly.
Right? Like, because there's no guarantees. You want insurances, you want the old ways in a new time, right? Does that make sense? Because,
The
or
cleaner.
you want the end result, but you don't want to take the risk.
Yes, because now it's almost like, in your 40s, you're not dating potential because you're dating patterns. You're like,
Ooh,
you're
that's
dating
deep.
somebody's attachment style, you're dating their healing, their self-awareness, or their fucking lack of it.
Their lack of it. Yeah, absolutely. Their unresolved issues, their baggage, their baby mamas, their kid. Wait.
It's true.
I got two baby mamas. No, I got three baby mamas now, including Andrew. That I got two that I know of. Oh, with my kids now. But just to think, if dating in today's society is a chore, this is why I think men get their money up and just treat women like objects in a way. And is coming from that side, does it is it being single in today's generation era times harder to deal with, or is it just incapable?
Well, I just think so. The difference, let's talk about the difference between dating in your 20s and your 40s. So in your 20s, you didn't know who you
Right.
were, but now you do. Like you know exactly who you are.
Yes.
Um,
We
and
hope
you know exactly who you will never tolerate again.
because you have boundaries.
Exactly.
Boundaries.
If you've done all of this healing. I
Correct.
mean, and can you have boundaries without doing healing? Yeah, absolutely. And then you use it as a punishment and as a weapon. Um,
Mm,
but
mm,
I think more often than not, what I come across is that people our age that are in their 40s and 50s, they're not looking for the chemistry, right? Like that, um, because the chemistry isn't real. They're looking for like compatibility, communication, emotional safety,
okay. Okay.
someone that you can build and hold a life with, or like
Okay.
the life that you have already built that you can hold that with them.
Okay.
You know, I think that it's a complete, you've matured now. People have matured. They know what they're wanting. And at the same time, you're in a big pool of people who have dated before or divorced and there's a
Right.
lot of hurt and there's a lot of nobody wants to be the first one. Like, I don't want to be first and put my heart out on the line.
Explain that. Explain that from a woman's point of view and from your clients, from a coaching. Here's the beauty of what Carrie brings to the table. This is besides being my friend, she brings an attitude that didn't work for her before. She put in all the work. She's got a successful relationship right now. She comes up with so many different angles that she can give it. And this is why she's so perfect for everything that we got going on into 2026 with the workshops and everything else. But in what phase do you think that it just becomes too much?
What do you mean in what phase?
Like, okay, when, like you said, in your 20s, you didn't know who you
Hmm.
was. When you're 40s, you knew who you were. But now you're listing off features that you're looking for, right? Versus attributes in another person.
Yeah, I mean, I think now, I think it was easier back then when you were younger because everything was just fun. Like, I mean, there's so many things. If you go back and look at when you were younger, when you were creating your business or dating, like
Hmm.
you hadn't had all those experiences, so you weren't afraid to go do stuff. You would
Hmm.
just show up, right? And everything was an experience. Even when you were a little child, every Christmas was a brand new experience. We don't think that way as now as
That's a
adults.
good one.
And it's not that like connection isn't hard. It's just that everyone's terrified to show their fucking
Terrifying.
cards.
Yes, yes. Because you don't know if you're going to communicate clearly. You don't know if
Yeah.
you're going to be willingness to be interactive. Who's going to pay for the date? Is it worth it? Do I even put myself back out there? You mean that's a lot of. You gave me a headache just thinking about that stuff with the women you're dealing with. Now,
Well, I mean, going first requires vulnerability, and
true, very true,
it means I'm going to be seen before I know that it's truly safe. And going first
true,
means I'm
true,
showing interest, maybe not knowing if it's mutual,
true.
and I'm allowing someone else to witness parts of me that I have spent years protecting.
Creating,
Um,
protecting, developing. You mean?
yeah,
I mean that's value in itself,
yeah.
right? I
I mean,
mean that alone. Look, I'll give you a perfect example of that. How I mentioned before, how much value you bring to the table as Carrie 2.0. You bring so much value, right? That you're not even worried because you think it's common sense, right?
yeah.
Because you put in all the work. When yeah, and you can apply this to even your business, your work people, your work, your culture, your company. Everything applies to this because you just don't know. But the amble of it, the preamble of it, what else? What else did that post really drive you to kind of like make this long? If you're not seeing our post, guys, if you go on Facebook or Instagram, you're gonna find her at Carrie Polero, right? She's all over social media, and find that post because it seems to me like it's great that you caught it, but what was he driving to about the dating scene? Did he feel hurt, do you think, or like what was your conclusion after that?
Well, because I hear it a lot with women as well, that
Oh, okay.
so when he said that it's a challenge to be a single man these days, I was kind of like, okay, um, well, maybe this is a conversation that we're just not having as a collective because we're so busy blaming other things. Like we're blaming the dating apps, right? I've been
True.
guilty
Yep.
of
Yep.
blaming dating
Yeah.
apps. We're blaming culture. I
Hmm.
hear women say there's no good men out there. That's absolutely not true. Um, Men are blaming women for being too independent. Women are
True.
blaming men for not committing. We're like missing the core of what's
Missing that
actually
that that that
happening.
thing, that
Like
connection.
everyone's terrified, everyone's guarded, and everyone wants the connection without ever having to go first. That's the reality.
But then again, too, you as a coach, how do you change those beliefs so that people believe in dating again?
Well, I think that the answer is to bring everybody gets to come back to the relationship they have with themselves.
It comes back to that again, right?
It always comes back to
Yes,
that.
it always comes back to that,
Always comes back to that.
regardless.
And I know people say, it can't be that. No, I'm here to fucking tell you it absolutely is that.
No,
It's
absolutely, no,
like,
100%. Now, let me get this. If I was the guy, right? Instead of you telling us what to do, if I was the guy that wrote that post, how would you coach me through it? Show me how. What would be the next steps if I was the client that wrote in that post? Just assume that happened.
well, I would
Just
really want to explore his belief system because he gets to change the identity of because his identity is dating is hard right now, right? Like his belief system is dating is hard. Women always want something, and and also what I got without him necessarily saying it because it was a very lengthy DM. Um, he felt there was going to be a lack of acceptance and where
Oh,
he
that's deep.
in
Okay.
himself, right? And
That's
so
deep. Yeah.
his beliefs, his identity is holding those beliefs in place right now. And they're not random thoughts. They're these protective patterns that his nervous system has decided were safer than the truth. So it's not about believing in something new. It's like the identity, the belief. So I get to be in the identity of the belief that's actually running the show. And so that just showed me where he was in his identity, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so we get to really focus on like what are the beliefs that are running the show and how can we shift those? And it really comes back to the beliefs that are running the show are all about how you feel about yourself. They're not about other.
100.
And a belief
100%.
is a survival strategy. And so like this is like the one thing I tell my clients. I'm like because they're like, "Oh, I can just change my belief." But what you got to remember is this. Your belief your beliefs are like little babies, right? Like you gave birth to them and you loved them and you nurture them and you held on to them so tightly and you have watched them grow from when they were really little and they've grown with you throughout your whole life. So it's not so easy for you to go, oh, I'll just change a belief. No, this has now
It's
become
ingrained. Yes.
yes, this like adult version. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
and so
absolutely.
yes, can you change your beliefs? 100%. But it's not like it doesn't happen like this. You're not going to make the choice and then tomorrow go out and attract a totally different person. It doesn't happen like
Yeah,
that.
see, that's where our workshops is going to come in really handy, even with the workshops that me and Doc are going, with all three of us under the umbrella, because you have to internalize your beliefs, where they came from, how you change it, and how you can make it. Because you want to change your behavior to set the goals for everything else. But it all comes down to belief, and you gotta have values too. Because if you don't have, if you have beliefs with a different type of value system, it doesn't work. It doesn't jive. It disconnects, even like you're dating. Because even if you say, if I was the person that said dating is hard for a man, right? Regardless, what do you think about it? How does, if I'm gonna have no confidence in myself and I'm self-doubting myself, but I want to put myself on a pedestal and become the prize, like Carrie says, but I'm not acting that way. That means my belief system is all disarrayed. Doesn't happen. You will not attract the right partner because you will attract, say, somebody that's below you so you can stay in control because of your own insecurities, right? Or you're going to level up in your dating and attract the person that's compatible to you in a way that will suffice because you guys moving on to build a life. And you got to remember that, guys. You set the tone for yourself that you look in the mirror. You set the person that gets attracted to you. Now, physicality might be different. You can change all the cosmetics, you can do all that bullshit. But what's about this? Right? Now, if to me, if you're a high achiever and you don't, and when that thing reflects back to you in a compatible mate or a compatible dating app, things change also. Look at her face. She goes, oh, she's about to give you the whoo,
You know,
the pause. She's pausing. Watch out.
I think it's really, yes, you're probably not going to like what you see.
You're not.
That's the reality is you see a reflection you don't like, but it's just feedback. It's just information.
It can
It
feedback.
there's
Right.
no like judgment about it. And so I
Right.
think at least my experience has been um, when you're a achiever, especially when you're successful in other areas of your life, like maybe your career and your health and all of those things, um, it's holy shit. I'm gonna panic when the mirror doesn't match the identity that I have built in all these other areas. Do you know what I mean? And
That's a
all it is,
mechanism also.
yeah, and it's just an invitation is all it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. It's a
Just to like choose differently, to just recalibrate. That's it.
nice, nice. Because there's not a saying that you won't get hurt. Because even in your dating, it's if your dating game that you're going through, you will go through some of those traumas, right? In that day, but it's not dead. It's how you look at it. It's how you want to track. It's how you want to feel. You know, if you're looking for a real connection and you don't have a real connection with yourself,
Exactly.
right? And you don't have the confidence, the self-doubt, and you don't have a connection with yourself, what you want and everything else, then you don't know how to deal with passion. But where do you give up, Gary? Okay, from your clients. Sometimes it's not 50-50. Sometimes it's what you're going to give up, 80-20, 30-70, 40-60. What do you tell your clients when they have to give up something? Not give up. Now, wrong wording. When you have to kind of like, what do you call that word when you compromise? What's the compromise?
Mm. You mean now, do you mean compromising with like when you're in a relationship, or do
Yes,
you
or like when you're going through this dating because you're thinking that's not dead because we're talking about the subject, right? you know, like, do you compromise looks? Do you compromise personality? Do you compromise how value? Do you compromise weight? Do you compromise looks? You mean what are you telling the clients? Because on the dating apps, it's all digital, physical. It's all sometimes bullshit, right? Because you're living in a hookup culture right now. What do you tell to have substantiate substance for your clients?
well, I think a lot of like that word, it triggers people because they think, oh my God, I have
True.
to
That's
settle.
why I mentioned it. Yeah.
That means I am sacrificing all the things that I want. And that's absolutely not compromise. Like if you're settling and sacrificing your needs and all of that, that's
Settling.
self-abandonment.
Yeah. Settling.
And
Okay.
then, and you're responsible for that because if you're sacrificing your needs and you're settling and like that will lead to resentment if you are
True.
self-abandoning, if you stop communicating, if you aren't even expressing to the person what your standards are, but you get to know what is a non-negotiable for you.
That's
um
the word I'm looking for. Non-negotiable.
yeah,
I couldn't think of the word.
and I think well, with the women that I work with initially in the beginning, it's great that we can write some non-negotiables, but it's really in the enforcement of the non-negotiable, right? You can't compromise if you don't know what your standards are. And so you get to be clear on your values, your boundaries, your emotional needs. But where compromise becomes unhealthy, compromise is not a bad word. It becomes
Yeah.
unhealthy when you negotiate the things you actually need in order to feel safe, respected, and connected. And so if you create a list of non-negotiables and then you're like, oh, well, well, he's really good looking and he does all these other things right, then I guess I can overlook this aspect.
Okay. Okay.
No, that's not okay.
Okay.
No.
No, but I understand it. Like the non-negotiables and stuff like that. What do you tell your clients to either rephrase or I mean, in a situation like that, right? The non-negotiables. It's curious. I'm
Mhm.
curious about this. What is most women do to make them feel like they settled later on in the future?
What do you, so say that
Like
one
like
more
say
time.
say say you like he might have the good looks, he might be 6 feet,
Hmm.
six pack, all this other stuff, 6 figures, drives a nice car and everything, but you're settling for this because you want to be the eye candy. But you get into a serious relationship where there's no connection and everything else, right? And what do you see that women tell themselves to stay in that? Is it the fear of being lonely, or is it, it's they're running out of time, or what I mean? Because I'm curious to think like why, you know, that's whether you have the form of the gold digger coming out because they're trying to get all theirs for themselves versus a person in the situation where they want companionship, they want to have come home to a family, they want to have, certain things, different phases. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, I mean, being single isn't the problem, but fear is. Like fear is the
Nice.
problem.
Okay, I can, I
Eh,
can, I
like
can, yeah.
fear of being seen, like really being seen, trusting your heart. Um, there is this underlying belief that, oh my God, I might choose wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe I'm not enough, or maybe I'm too much, or maybe someone else is better. And so all this
Right.
fear does is just keep me guarded. And when you first meet somebody, like you're putting your best foot forward, right? And I believe what I have seen is fear keeps you in that performance stage, right? Like I got to keep performing, and then no one ever gets to see who I really
The real
am.
you. The
No one
real
gets to
you.
see the real me. And then it's
Yeah.
like, I'm constantly feeding this mask and this performance, and it becomes really exhausting because I'm beginning to date from my wounds instead of
True.
just like, hey, this is who I am. Like,
Yeah.
hey, cool. And people can feel that.
Absolutely. 100%. They can feel that, see that, understand that, the vibrations, the energy, everything. For somehow you sometimes you won't even think. But like you said, dating is not the problem. The fear of that dating is not the problem. The fear is you're gonna make me look like a superstar right now, right? The fear of actually being seen, like you said, the fear of really trusting again. Because everybody got hurt, everybody got baggage, everybody got trauma, everybody got stuff going on, right? You know, the fear of choosing wrong. What if you
Hmm.
choose wrong in a partner and 5 years down the line you'll be like, oh shit, this is like, because you're gonna hold that resentment, that grudge because you didn't have the intolerables, right? The fear of being too much or not enough, right? Because this is look, guys, this is not my words. This is Carrie's words. This is how good she is as a coach, right? I'll give her props of where she belongs because, but the moment you set that tone and you find yourself in the mirror looking for things that what happens next? I'll let her give the thunder and from her post.
Well, it's now there is this I don't trust myself, right? Because I have been performing and deep down I know that I'm feeding this like mask and this performance, right? This person doesn't really know who I truly am, like fully. They've seen bits and
Mhm.
pieces, right? And what happens is I begin to not trust them. I begin to hold resentment about towards them when really this is all about how I'm feeling about me because I don't trust myself.
I was just about to
I
say,
don't trust me. Every decision in dating feels dangerous because I made them. And the
you
fear
made them, you
isn't
grew it, like you
I grew
said.
it. Exactly. It's yes, I supported the evidence and I nurtured the evidence that I can't trust men. Right? The real fear isn't trusting men. The real fear is trusting myself to choose well, to hold myself when it doesn't work out, right? If I'm dating someone in like 5 years, they're like, hey, I'm not feeling it anymore. Well, fucking thank you. Thank you for being honest and telling me so that we can like split away, right? And I don't abandon myself in those moments when like feelings get involved.
Lose
Yeah, will it
yourself.
suck? Will it hurt? Yeah.
Yes.
But if you don't want to be here, I don't want you to be here.
Right, 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 right. Because it makes no sense because now it's just a draining battery. You're just draining your battery and just feeling all of this things that's not even going on. Now, when you set the tone and you be able to rephrase it, you might be able to compartmentalize your emotions, this and that. What happens next when everything goes right? And you know what I mean? And you're happy about dating, happy about going out, happy about doing things. But finding now it becomes not like a treasure hunt. You look at it differently. You're afraid.
Oh
You
my
look
God, yeah. As soon
completely
as
different.
you remember that you set the tone, like you're not waiting for someone to choose you because you're choosing you. And so you're not in this reactive, anxious state of
Mhm.
over analyzing like every single
Ugliness.
communication.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you're auditioning for to be liked, right? Or to be chosen. And because you're showing up from a grounded, secure, like self-led energy because you're okay with you. You're
Right.
communicating clearly, you're like you're able to take a step back and detach and evaluate rather than that anxious um, pull of, oh my God, I have to chase, right? Like that is when we learned that well, at least when I was younger, I had learned that, oh my God, like chasing is part of love, like the up and down roller coaster, right? When you stop
The
doing
nervous
that,
system we talked about that last week.
yeah,
That
when your
trauma
nervous
system
system is
says,
calm.
yeah, yeah. And but that gravitational pull for what? See, this is how much I learned from Miss Palura here, right? The gravitational pull of thinking that because you recognize it and you know that you're gonna go back to that. Like when dating, like with even dating, like Harry said, until you can get over that hump and be okay with yourself, then it becomes a whole different ballgame because you have nothing to lose. You don't have to worry about this thing. And eventually, you're coming from, like she said, a grounded space that is security driven about yourself and the confidence without having self doubt. If you have insecurities, reach out to us. Reach out to Miss Polero. If you have, you know what I mean? Because creating something real does take work, but it starts with yourself, regardless of how you look at it, right?
Oh my
Be-
God, when you feel powerful, then
yeah.
that's when dating becomes fun. Connection feels
Yes.
safe.
Yeah.
And people are going to respond to that frequency.
And
Like
they
wherever
respect
you're
that.
operating, the energy you're
Yes.
operating from is how people are going to respond to you. People will show up differently because you're different.
Absolutely.
When you're not
100.
dating from fear and you're dating from a new identity, from worth and from emotional leadership, that's you get a
Yeah.
whole different type of person that
Yeah.
shows up in your space. And it goes the same for men as well. So if
Absolutely.
you're getting women that are like gold diggers or like all these types of women that you don't like, well, okay, well, how are you showing up? Like,
That was it. What are you projecting?
what are you putting out there?
Yeah.
Because if you're always putting out there this like victim, oh, poor me, and dating is hard, then yeah, you are going to attract a woman where you're like, fuck, gold digger, and man, it's hard to date her. Like I can't measure up because there is this underlying belief that you're not good enough and she's going to make you feel good enough. And you're looking for that evidence to make yourself right.
Repeat that. We're gonna have to clip that one out because that one is so good. That was amazing. But it works for people also, not just for dating.
Yes. This is
It's
not
for
like gender
people.
specific. This goes both
Yeah, it's
ways.
for people regardless. You know what I mean? Because and when you feel chaotic, your dating is going to be chaotic. If you're dating,
Exactly.
say, for survival mode, and you're looking to just use people, what do you think is going to happen to you? Right? Everything is a projection of where you step, whatever, what phase of your life, whatever you got going on. But the most important person that has to be um, derived from is yourself. If we come back to this all the time, whether you're in business, relationships, grooming, dating, it all gonna be how you show up and how you show up for yourself and for the other person.
And I do want to add this because I don't think a lot of people recognize things that have happened in your life in your past affect the way that you're showing up. So, for
Absolutely.
example,
Absolutely. Yep.
um, and I'm going to use myself as an example, having an abortion at 14 years old,
Okay.
right? That's affecting the way that I'm showing up, right? Like, oh my God, like we kept that a secret, right? There's shame there. So there,
Right.
then testing positive for herpes, like later on in life, like those types of
Right.
things that you might want to keep a secret, you are shaming yourself
Yourself.
and making yourself in your eyes a bad person and let me just speak from I made myself a bad person, so I felt like I deserved men that treated me a particular way, and I didn't remove myself from those relationships because I felt like, oh my God, because of these things, and I was shaming myself for them, that this was all it was available to me. That's absolutely not true. The things that happen to you just happen to you. They don't mean anything unless you make them mean something about you. But just know that these are how your beliefs are created because I
Mhm.
carried that with me for years and years, and I fucking nurtured that. I nurtured that belief for so long
And that's
until
what
I
happens.
finally healed from it.
Right. Well, it's like it's any type of situation that you think that you're going to cover up as a child because your childhood trauma grows into something bigger when you get into an adult, right? No
100%.
matter what happens, right? Even I'll give you a story of mine since you when we got personal about this. Okay, at 4 years old, right? I had in fact this happened. So there was a shooting on the freeway over here just recently, a couple weeks ago. Road rage incident. Road rage incident. Guy shot at the car, killed an 11-year-old in the backseat. Okay, they showed on the news the stepdad crying on the ground. Okay, like in just pale wailing. When I was four, 4 or 5, I had a brother. newborn, divorced parents, dad and my stepmom. I'm already going through all this thing going on with him for the divorce. I'm not feeling wanted, all this shaming. So my 6-month-year-old stepbrother dies of crib death. Okay. So I see this what happened on the news triggered this feeling in me that I don't want to feel because the wailing of my dad that I already thought didn't want me and all this stuff and what is going on, wailing, like just wailing. I'll never get it out of my head for the rest of my life. And this triggered it the other day because there's only that one type of pain that you could get from. I only can imagine if one of my sons did that, how I would feel. I don't even want to even like feel that. And then I see my stepmom running in, and they're bringing, and they didn't know what to do with us, so they left us, right? Because they want to deal with their what I was like. Now, one of those things that you lead up to divorce, being with split family, going to, I didn't heal from all those stuffs, right? But the trauma until I went to prison and I figured all this stuff out, that it wasn't my fault, but because I didn't get help from it, this is why I never wanted kids. I didn't believe in relationships. I didn't really want to even get married. All this good stuff because it grew into this snowball effect into that thing because trauma is a real thing. This is why me and Doc and Carrie do this for women, men, partners, relationship coach, because you don't want to be have to. Sometimes you just need somebody to understand you, right? And know what that there's somebody that's been through the worst because you're gonna say God doesn't a high level person doesn't give the anointed ones easy tasks. They give the anointed people to go through the pitfalls so they can teach other people, right? Because that one was like, I was like, this dude shot at the car for road rage, and the guy, the dude, but those are the type of traumas, and it'll affect your dating life. It'll affect your marriage life. It'll affect your work life. It'll affect your business. And until you reach that, nothing moves forward, guys. Was that deep enough?
Oh my God, thank you for sharing it in the way that you did because this was so perfect. Um, because I don't think people realize how deeply these experiences they shape their identity and their self-trust and in the way that they show up because it's not the event itself. This is a perfect to describe this. It's not the event itself, it's the story you told yourself afterward. That's
It's the
exactly.
story, what you did afterward that, because you don't know, you're young. You
Yes,
just don't know you're 4. You're
absolutely.
5. You mean like my brother, my other brother, right? He's like maybe 1 or 2 is like, so what happened? Like, how do you explain? Like, I don't. I Well, the good part of it is he was so young he didn't even know what was. He was still like a baby, right?
Mm.
Right. In a way, but then like I've dealt with it. Everything gets put on my shoulders. Everything affects my stuff going forward. But, you know, those are one of those things. Is dating dead? No, it's not dead. It's how you perceive it. It's how you want it. It's how you see things, how you go back to trusting it, how you deal with your own trauma. Now, if you want to deal with your trauma, guys, right? If if you need somebody that's been in your shoes, both female, male, together as a compilation, watch for 2026. We got workshops coming out. We got
Yes.
webinars coming out. We got live hands-on. We got PDF worksheets, books. I mean, the list goes on. We're going to have live evergreen webinars that run 24 hours so you can refer back to. All this stuff is coming out for Boundaries and Brother. Especially you're going to see Carrie. But Carrie, please end the show. This is a personal good one. We got to do this more
You
often.
know, I think I want to end with this. Like, you get to decide whether the next chapter mirrors your old patterns. It's that simple. Or if you want it to become like an era where you lead yourself, um, or and you trust your own judgment, you hold your standards, you create connection, um, from a grounded and secure energy. The reality is, you get to choose. Are you happy where you're at, or do you want to become something new?
Yes, beautiful. Guys, if you like this on TikTok, please like, follow, share. Watch it on YouTube. Watch me and Carrie's playlist. On her playlist on the channel Boundaries at Boundaries and Brothers, talks with Carrie with worthy as fuck. Worthy AF. Come leave us a comment, leave a message, leave us some questions, guys. Because a lot of times this is based on you guys, the public, and our fans and everything else. Please. Guys, it's Gordon Watt from Boundaries and Brothers. We'll see you guys next week, same time. Bye. Boop. Boop.
Dude, that was good. Oh my God, that story was just like boom. That like was a great
That's a
story to
good,
share.
great, perfect. Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
that
it.
like really landed like the